Hey guys, it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video, and today we are doing a type of video that is a very long lost friend of mine, one that I have not done in a while. We are doing a rant review today, children, and that rant review is for The Majesties by Tiffany Tsao. This is about a woman named Gwendolyn who is a part of this very rich, very wealthy tycoon Chinese Indonesian family, and she and her sister Estella are basically inseparable until one day on their grandfather's birthday, Estella poisons not only their entire family, their family friend's entire family, and then their former in-laws' entire family, so around 300 people. And Gwendolyn is the only survivor. She's in a coma, and she's trying to figure out what drove Estella to kill the entire clan. The trigger warnings for this book, I have them all written down because there are a lot. Mass murder, suicide, animal cruelty, I kind of have that one as an asterisk because I guess that can be debated depending who you are, but racism, domestic abuse, bulimia/eating disorders, suicide ideation, and colorism. I have had this book on my shelf for a while, so it was a massive disappointment that I ended up not liking it as much as I did. And when I say that, I mean I did not like this book. I cannot remember the last time that I've been so angry at a book. We're gonna get into it, but this is going to be spoilery because I am going to be going into depth on all the things that I did not like about The Majesties. And a lot of that stuff has to do with the plot and the characters. So if you haven't read this and you don't want to get spoiled, you might want to click out now. However, if you have read this and you are interested in what I have to say about this book, then stay tuned. But before we start, I want to know, have y'all read this book? Are y'all interested in this book? And if you have and are, tell me why and tell me what you guys thought about it. Or for the other percentage of people, tell me down below what's a book that has recently made you angry, okay? Because this one, wow, the rage, unbridled. Anyway, let's get right into it. I want to start off by listing the pros that I had with this book, the things that I liked. The writing, while not spectacular, wasn't bad. The prose I thought was okay. I got through the book incredibly quickly, so there is something for that. The prose is very fluid. The conversations in this book about racism, colorism, classism were superb. And that is another reason why I'm so disappointed with this book, because I wish that those superb conversations could have been in a superb book. Alas. Now we're gonna get into the cons that I had with this book. First con, right off the top of my head that I can think of, the pacing, okay? The pacing in this book, I'm not gonna say horrendous, but it was bad. It jumped around so many times, which wouldn't normally be a problem for me. It's just that we jumped around so many times, and then every time we would jump back, it would be just like that. It was confusing. There was no indication that, oh, this flashback has ended and now we're back at this present time, or this memory has ended and now we're going to look at this memory. It's like, I guess there were some indications, but they weren't as blatant as I believe they should have been to indicate the transition. So that is a big thing that confused me and ended up just like frustrating me a lot. This con is just with Gwendolyn's business as a whole, because they're from a family that is very rich, tycoon, as I had originally said, and both of the daughters have their own businesses. Gwendolyn's business is this jewelry business that has to do with like insects. And this is where my asterisk of the trigger warning for animal cruelty comes in. I guess for context, what we need to know about is the cordyceps fungus. The cordyceps fungus is a type of spore that latches itself into an insect, and it like burrows itself into the insect's head and causes the insect to climb like a post or a tree or anything to get as high as possible. And then when the insect can't get any higher, the spore bursts out of its head and then, you know, releases other spores. So that's the cordyceps fungus. So Gwendolyn takes the cordyceps fungus and genetically engineers it to where instead of killing the insect, it just keeps it dormant. So now people can wear bracelets, rings, necklaces, brooches with live insects on them. And the fungus is also genetically engineered to like follow the commands of the person wearing the bracelet or the piece of jewelry. For example, Gwendolyn talks about this fashion show that she was doing where she had this necklace full of monarch butterflies. And with the shrug of the model's shoulders, the butterflies floated up, flittered about a little bit, and then sat back down in their original places. While I think that is a cool idea, the trigger warning for animal cruelty comes in with, I just think that it is cruel to knowingly put a fungus in something to make it dormant and adhere to your commands. I don't know, that just didn't sit right to me. It reminded me of this story that my mother used to tell me about Victorian women who would take fireflies and basically rip out the part that lights up and put it on a ring and wear them as rings. The problem that I had with it is the fact that it's never challenged, right? Like, I get it, they're bugs, but even Gwendolyn, who's obsessed with bugs and love bugs, she's like, yeah, the humaneness of it all. Bitch, that is not humane. Now we're on the main part of this rant review. The thing that got me so pissed. I was under the assumption that, oh, okay, we're gonna find out why Estella poisoned everybody. And we do. It's just that most of it is us finding out that Estella was in this really abusive marriage that her family, you know, pushed her into. It was just so focused on Estella's relationship, and it was kind of boring. Okay, I think that it was a really good idea, but it was just not executed well in the slightest. Because of that, my rating, you know, in my head dropped to a 3, and then with the pacing, it kind of dropped to a 2, 2.5, maybe at the highest a 3, but then the ending completely dashed that shit, all right? Because at the very end, basically we find out that apparently Gwendolyn, the girl that we've been following, is not real. The big twist is that Gwendolyn was made up as a figment of Estella's imagination so that she could like cope with the pressure of her family life, and the entire time it's not Gwendolyn laying in a coma, it's Estella. And personally, I hate that plot twist. Like to an extreme point, I think it's lazy writing, okay? And I don't know, I was just angry, I was betrayed, I was confused because honestly, it wasn't even really explained that well. I just think that it's a cop-out. I thought the plot twist and therefore the ending of this book was a cop-out. That was the catalyst for my anger for this book. I just don't like that twist in any piece of media that it comes in, that I consume. And to have this, to be honest, really drawn out mystery and thriller, which, okay, play out to that was such a letdown. And in my opinion, a big slap in the face. Then a little subplot that quite honestly kind of got forgotten a little bit was that they're trying to find their lost Aunt Sandra, because Sandra had faked her death, and Estella, she's basically out on a mission to try and see if her family can be redeemed in any sort of way, because her family, like I said, they're tycoons, so they're corrupt, they buy off officials, they buy off police, everything like that. So Estella is hell-bent on finding her aunt, and Gwendolyn, you know, tags along, because apparently Gwendolyn doesn't have a choice, because Gwendolyn is part of her. You know, they find Aunt Sandra, and then when they find her, a lot of things come to the surface that just infuriated me. First of all, why are you trying to find somebody that obviously faked their death for a reason? Okay. Second of all, Sandra is now like working paycheck to paycheck because she's not working on her dad's or her mother's money anymore. So when Estella and Gwendolyn come in, they're very judgmental, all right, about her surroundings. When Sandra goes, yeah, I'm happy here, Gwendolyn / Estella looks around and goes, you sure about that? I was like, girl, you intruded on her life. Now you're judging her for it? Which I guess can be understandable because, you know, they're used to this rich lifestyle, whereas, you know, Aunt Sandra living paycheck to paycheck, I guess it's kind of a culture shock. But either way, damn. Them finding Aunt Sandra and her whole backstory, that was anticlimactic. All right, we find out that Aunt Sandra left because this guy who she was in a relationship with was kind of anti-Chinese and asked her for money, and then her parents heard about it, and thinking that he was lower than her, they killed him, and so that's why she ran away. And we're not really shown it. We are told it very hastily, and I don't know, I just thought it was messy. Then the main problem with the ending that I had was Estella's actions as a whole. The beginning, the intro, like the actual massacre part, was very well done. All right, I was left reeling from that scene, okay, because, you know, you have everybody dying, you have the cousins dying, you have the grandpa and the grandma slumped over, and then you have the kids, because she kills the kids too. And her whole reasoning for killing the children is that it's too late for them being born in this family, they're now a seed of this family's corruption, they cannot be changed. And Estella, all I have to say to you is choke on your tongue. Just admit it. You killed children, all right? And then Estella tries to write it off as her actions being righteous. And the book doesn't question it. Sorry, I did not agree with that whatsoever. And the fact that at the very end of this book, Gwendolyn, or Estella, the part of Estella's mind that still sees itself as Gwendolyn, you know, as she's slipping off into the coma, like the very last page of this book, as she's slipping off into the coma, and she sees Estella, and like grabs her hand, and they're about to like jump into oblivion together. It says, quote, "She looks so serene. I don't think she remembers anything of what has passed, what she has done. And in these dreams, I too forget." I'm glad you can, Gwendolyn, or Estella. I'm glad you can forget that she murdered children. I, however, cannot. Really? Y'all gotta lock it up. All right, y'all gotta lock it up. I gave The Majesties by Tiffany Tsao 1 star. I hated it. By the end, I was so angry to the point where I was stuttering. I couldn't make coherent sentences. That's how angry I was. All right, and this book is pitched as a thriller. If you couldn't pitch from my earlier reaction, I don't understand how that is at all. This has to be the worst book that I've read this whole year, and we're only in January, because the date that I'm making this is the 31st. All right, who knows when this is gonna be up. But yeah, I did not like this book. I thought it was questionable in its moral compass. And while I do like a good unlikable character every now and then, none of these characters were likable. And I mean none of them. And the thing that I feel like makes an unlikable character good is the fact that the stuff that they do that is morally gray, or, you know, not moral whatsoever, is somewhat challenged by somebody else. And it wasn't. None of the things in here that these morally gray characters did was ever challenged. And I don't know. I just didn't like it. Not for me. So you guys, that was my rant review for The Majesties by Tiffany Tsao. I hope you enjoyed. I hope, you know, if you want to read this book and you're still watching this, which, hi, I don't know what the hell you're still doing here, but, you know, I don't discourage you from reading this book. Obviously, if you still want to read it, go for it and see if you find something in there that you like, because I genuinely hope that, you know, you do. I hope that you don't have the experience that I did. But also, you know, if you didn't like this book and we're here for a sense of camaraderie, hi, I'm right there with you girlies. Okay, so I guess just to end this video, I hope that we can all find thrillers that are actually thrilling and, you know, don't cause us to throw the book in anger. But with that being said, you guys, I hope you guys are staying safe, that you'll tune into the next video, and that you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.